Hey, this is a quick insight into the EU Taxonomy. In this video, I'm going to show you what the basics of the EU Taxonomy are, how the process looks like, what the end result is going to be, and some of my personal recommendations. So, let's start. Okay, so what is the EU Taxonomy about? In general, the EU Taxonomy applies to all financial market participants. And the goal is to direct financing towards green activities. So the goal of the EU is that companies that are sustainable, that they have an easier way to financing or maybe additional financing and therefore are benefiting because they're sustainable. But then the question is like, how do we define sustainability or here green activities? And the EU taxonomy tries to do exactly that. So the process is that they have defined 107 economic activities. And you as a company has then to see what of those activities do we do and where do we fit in. And then basically you have to check that you fulfill 4 criteria. And I have more information about this in the navigator, but for now there are basically 4 criteria. And one of the criteria, the main one, is basically that you have to see if your business fulfills any of the 6 environmental objectives. And that is basically the definition. So within, you just check hey, are we helping one of the 6 environmental objectives with the product, with the service, with the activity that we have? And then one of the other criteria is also that you don't have to do significant harm to any of the other, which makes sense. If you're helping sustainability in one way, but doing something much worse in the process, then it's not really helping, right? So this is basically the approach, how we can then say, okay, those activities are green activities and therefore sustainable. And the result is that we can then look at the company and can be okay, let's see what of your activities are actually green activities and what are not. And then we can say, okay, what is the share of green activities in your turnover? And then we have a percentage for that. And then we can also, and this is where we always have those buzzwords where we look at the CapEx and OpEx and all of this, where we then see, okay, CapEx is capital expenditure, and we see how much of the capital expenditure in your company goes into green activities, and we have defined that before. And the same for OpEx, the operating expense. How much of your operating expense goes into green activities? And since we defined it in the first process, we can then basically have very good values for that, and that makes it easier for financial market participants to then see hey, how sustainable are companies, and then base investments on top of this. So yeah, of course I'm simplifying here. So there's a lot of work that goes into the background, and the decision is very much based on data. So the good thing here is that with the CSRD, we are going to have access to much more data soon, and companies are required to look into that and get more data. And based on this, then those decisions can actually be made. And I obviously simplify it in saying okay, we fulfill one of the objectives and then we have it. But basically the data helps you to make decisions like that. And in my recommendation, I just think it's very helpful for companies to talk to other companies, talk to companies that are in the same field to see hey, what are your green activities? What challenges do they have? How do they approach them? How do they solve them? And this is also how we build up the navigator. So the idea is that you get access to either experts or companies that are somehow similar to your company, and then you can see how they solved their problems and what they did. And we also have some FAQs that help you to just get a better overview and then basically understand the topic, and then you can take a decision how you want to approach the whole topic and how you think this will be helpful to you. So yeah, I hope this helps you, and I hope to hear from you soon.